Man vs. Food was a ratings powerhouse for the Travel Channel, and it made the show's host Adam Richman a household name. But there's a lot you might not know about Adam Richman and the show that gave him his big break. Richman never formally trained as a competitive eater before he landed the Man vs. Food gig. In fact, before he ate food for money, he was an actor and Yale Drama School graduate who appeared in numerous bit roles. Because of his eating inexperience, Richman checked in with doctors ahead of time, saying in a 2010 live chat with ESPN, "I went to specialists ahead of time because I wanted to start with a baseline of good health versus correcting bad health down the road." Richman may have discussed the risk with his doctors, but that didn't stop him from packing on the pounds during the show's 4-season run. Richman frequently skipped meals leading up to challenges to increase his eating capacity, but in a 2009 interview with 411 Mania, he said that because of the tight production schedule, it was sometimes difficult to prepare the way he wanted to before a challenge. "If I do have a day off, I don't eat, or eat very minimally, and I drink a lot of water and club soda to keep my stomach stretched and full and to keep myself hydrated. It isn't just the way he handles meals before a challenge though," he continued. "The most important aspect is that I work out like a beast. I work out like a beast the night before and the morning of."
I lift things up and put them down.
In 2015, Richman did an Ask Me Almost Anything chat on Reddit and spilled the beans on some of the things fans have been wondering for years, including his favorite and least favorite challenges. While his favorite challenge was Humpy's Alaskan Ale House's Kodiak Arrest, his least favorite was a challenge he faced and failed at Munchie's 420 Cafe in Sarasota, Florida. Unlike the episodes that see Richman plow his way through gargantuan meals, this was the smallest challenge on the show: 10 little chicken wings.
These are firing your whole wings.
Richman had to eat 10 wings in 20 minutes without drinking milk. He got through 2 before tossing in the towel. Richman says it was his least favorite challenge not because he failed, but because he said the owner allegedly cheated by surprising him with dangerously spicy food. Most of Richman's challenges fall into 2 categories, heat and quantity, but which is worse? Turns out it's complicated. Apparently, heat challenges are easier if the dish uses whole peppers instead of pepper extract. With extract, it's just heat for the sake of heat, instead of a flavor-filled heat. He told The Guardian, "A good spicy challenge strikes a balance between flavor and fear. Quantity challenges are also apparently no big deal as long as they don't have a lot of starchy ingredients. It's the fried foods, the fries, and the potatoes that make these more difficult."
I'm gonna be honest, I can't put another bite of this meat in my mouth.
Although Richman's least favorite challenge reportedly involved cheating, the worst challenge he's ever done was a smothered and covered breakfast burrito. In this case, Richman shared during his ESPN chat that the 7-pound breakfast burrito wasn't his only nemesis. "I was extremely sick with a 101 fever, a bronchial and sinus infection. Add to that I hate chunks of ham and green pepper in food, and that dish had both. Truly a sucky experience."
I was dying earlier today, and then I died. Now I'm dead.
It's funny to think the dude who would do competitive eating challenges while wearing a t-shirt, flannel, and a jacket would bear it all in a magazine. But Richman wanted to show off his newly fit body in UK's Cosmopolitan in June 2014. He was proud of the spread, saying, "To go from hating the way I look to being a Cosmo centerfold is a profound honor." He added that suddenly being seen as eye candy was a nice experience. After retiring from Man vs. Food in 2012, the Travel Channel was set to debut Richman's next endeavor, Man Finds Food, in the summer of 2014. But the plug was temporarily pulled on the show after the newly svelte star used the now-banned hashtag #Thinspiration on Instagram, a tag that is often used by the pro-anorexia community. Richman went on a tear after users called him out on its use. During his rant, Richman not only used obscenities to refer to people, but went so far as to encourage self-harm among those who were calling him out. Months later, the show finally found its way to the Travel Channel, but was renamed Secret Eats with Adam Richman for the 2nd season. Rumors swirled after Richman retired from Man vs. Food, but he told The Guardian that the decision to retire from Man vs. Food was all his, not the network's. The simplest way to put it is to say that the spectacle diminishes over time. Richman added that he wanted to be ahead of the game and quit before it got too boring. Rumors that he stepped away from the show for his health also circulated, but Richman told the BBC not only was that not the case, but he was shocked at how many sick people wanted to believe he'd been forced into retirement by illness.
"But I'm not sick. Let me prove it to you."
If you've ever thought, I can do that while watching Richman down a massive amount of food, you can give it a try. There are thousands of food challenges out there, and according to Food Challenges, a site that strives to list them all, that's thanks to mostly Man vs. Food. Between 2008 and 2015, more than 2,300 food challenges popped up across the US. It goes farther than that too. More than 15 countries have also adopted the idea that stuffing yourself silly can be entertainment. Thanks to the popularity of Man vs. Food, you can now find food challenges across Britain, as well as in Thailand, India, France, Sweden, Australia, and Belgium.
You might think the biggest challenge of hosting Man vs. Food is the competitive eating, but But Richman says when he auditioned for the gig, the one thing they didn't have him do was prove he could take down an insane amount of grub in a single sitting. Instead, they focused on finding someone who could speak knowledgeably and passionately about food. He told Hebe, "I auditioned for Man vs. Food. I had nothing to do with the conception or creation of it, at least in the initial stages. No challenges along the way. It was just talking about food." Inquiring minds want to know all sorts of details about the food challenges on Man vs. Food, but Richman told Bro Bible that there's one type of question he doesn't care to answer: bathroom questions. And you will get them from the most unusual sources. "I always want to be like, why do you care?" He said when one former high school classmate reached out with a diarrhea-related inquiry, he realized he'd had just about enough. So for those scoring at home, Man 0, Poop 1. If you're wondering whether or not doing any of these food challenges permanently ruined a food for Richman, it absolutely has. He told the Mirror that since tackling 15 dozen oysters at the Acme Oyster House in New Orleans, he'd had enough, as he's not a fan of eating anything that's still alive. "After the oyster challenge, I think I may have had less than a dozen since. It just turned me off."
Oh, that was so stupid.
Alton Brown has been a staple in the world of food-based television for as long as cooking has been popular TV fodder. And he's definitely not a fan of Man vs. Food. Brown told Zap to It, "That show is about gluttony, and gluttony is wrong. It's wasteful. Think about the people that are starving to death and think about that show. I think it's an embarrassment." Richman took to Twitter to defend his show, writing, "Alton Brown, MVF is about indulgence, not gluttony, and has brought loads of biz to mom-and-pop places. You were my hero, sir. No more. #damn shame."
These words represent disappointment, dishonesty, and disillusionment.
Richman's stint as host of Man vs. Food came to an end in 2012 after he quit the show because, according to an interview with The Guardian, the spectacle diminishes over time. When the show relaunched 5 years later with new host Casey Webb, though, for some reason Richman still felt proprietary about his former job, responding to an Instagram comment that he didn't consider Webb to be a fit replacement. Replacement? LOL, nah, just someone driving a stolen car. Sick burn. Luckily for Webb, though, Richman happens to know the perfect cure for that. Richman might not like talking about other Man vs. Food-caused digestive issues, but he has talked about his tried-and-true method for fighting heartburn. He told Today that it's not about taking care of the problem after it happens, but instead, he's all about preventing it in the first place. To start with, he drinks a ton of water to prepare for something he knows is a heartburn risk, giving drinks like coffee and soda a pass. But the bigger part of his special heartburn cure is what he takes with that water: the anti-heartburn drug Zantac. It's all about being proactive. Everyone thinks I'm just shilling Zantac, but it's really what I use. So the next time you embark on a spree of wanton gluttony at your local mom-and-pop joint, be sure to follow Richman's advice and take some heartburn drugs first. Your stomach and apparently your toilet will thank you later.